cart modifications. This is the next step, okay? We modified all the stuff on the page. Now we're moving on to the cart, okay, the shopping cart. Now our goals here in making these different modifications to our shopping cart was to get more people to hit the checkout page and also make sales, right? So the more people who added to cart, we fixed on the first step. Now we want to get as many of those people to then go onto the checkout page. Okay, so basically each time we make improvements, we're trying to take more and more people onto the next step. So the two goals here are hit checkout and sales.
All right. So I would, let's see here. So the checkout, we were at 2.27. And the thing that I always remind people is if you look at the numbers that are correlated in this graph, this is the easiest way for me to write it all on one page. But essentially from 2.27 to 2.96 in 30 days, it gave us an extra 1,000 people reached the checkout. So that's a thousand people more that we had the opportunity to sell to. And then again, another 1.10% increase took our sales from that 3,400 all the way over 6,000 to hit the checkout. So we wanted to make sure, obviously, you're never going to sell someone if they don't reach the checkout and be able to add their payment information. So for us, we just basically treated the store like a funnel, and we figured the first page is the landing page, the next one we had to make it better, and you can see that's what we did as we went through the process. So we literally just did it linear rather than trying to do everything all at once, and it made it a lot easier for us to test and make sure that what we were doing was effective and working properly.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to dive into this now, but guys, I want to double check with you. Are you guys following this? Are you guys seeing how you can implement these things in your store? I mean, we're literally even showing you the exact products, the exact changes, screenshots of our store to make this work. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, phenomenal. Gustavo says, oh yeah, Robert, Sean loves it. Okay. This is literally what makes an e-commerce business successful. Everybody sells, oh, let's do Facebook ads or let's find products. But guys, this is the non-sexy. And the reason that nobody else teaches this stuff, two reasons. One, they don't do it. Okay. And two, it's not sexy. So when you sell products online, like to business owners, and you're selling information and things like that, people only want to sell what's sexy because they can get people to buy it very quickly. But this is the real things that make your business grow. And I'll tell you guys, if we had sold something like, hey, a Facebook ad hack, a whole lot more people would have bought it than bought this training. But the reality is, the people who grab this training are the ones that are going to see the massive improvements and really build a very successful business.
And I have to disagree. Only not just because I like numbers, but to me, sexy is the extra 78,000 at the end of the month on the same ad spend. If we gave you an ad trick, and then you went through the last 90 days with the election and them spending millions of dollars on ads, and your ads going up and down and up and down, the ad trick probably wouldn't have helped you for the last 90 days. But if your store converted well, like ours does, and still does, and through that process, we were able to remain profitable even though the number of ads that we were able to get to be successful was less. We didn't go backwards for it. Where if it was just an ad hack, I think it would have been a lot less sexy and a lot more stressful. So I disagree as far as I think this is way more valuable than me trying to teach you how to use a lookalike audience, because pretty much everybody can do that, even though like Tanner said, it sells better. This right here at the end of the month puts a whole lot more money in our pocket than running more ads.
Absolutely. And for the record, I think it's damn sexy, but I was talking about the general public, right? But yeah, I like the sexiness of more money in my pocket from the same amount of work, right? Because and then again, if you guys think about this, and we're not going to cover all of this stuff, but I just want to give you another little tidbit. If you make all these little tweaks, they add up to exponential growth, right? Now the cool thing there is that if you guys have continuity built into your business, then your all of this is going to feed your continuity and your recurring income to grow that much more. And if you guys don't know about continuity, hopefully you guys read my book and then you'll know a lot about it and you'll be as obsessed with it as I am. But this puts a huge smile on Matt and I's face because it is feeding continuity.
Yeah, if you look, just go through these numbers really quick. The number of sales went from 2,630 with the same ad spend of 4,900, 300 short of double. So that's 5,000 people now that have the opportunity to see our upsell after the shopping cart experience for continuity, where before it was just a hair over 2,000. And again, this is all off the same ad spend. We have an extra 2,300 customers.
2,300 customers is a big deal if you turn them all into a repeat buyer and they go from a one buyer to a two buyer. Now you just made 4,000 sales, right? Okay, so here's the actual next graph of the amount that reached checkout from the improvements that we made in the cart, in the shopping cart, to get them to go to the checkout. So when we started again 2.27, ended up at 4.07. Doesn't look statistically or percentage wise like a huge increase, but if you look at it from 3,400 to 6,100, that's a double, right? It's ridiculous the amount of people. And again, the ones who hit the checkout are the most likely to buy. And then again, obviously that helped our sales, right? So we went from a 1.75% conversion rate all the way over to a 3.29%, and now our conversion rate's actually even higher than that. So here's the thing, guys. Globally, the average e-commerce conversion rate is around 1 to 1.5, possibly 2%, but the really 1 to 2% is the average, okay? Brad, I'll answer that in a second. So we started out right in the range of the average, a little bit above average, okay? But with every 30 days we improved, okay? So we more than doubled our sales conversion rate in 63 days, okay? From 2,600 sales to 4,900, almost 5,000 sales. That's massive. Okay, so our Shopify store is now converting about the same as a direct response landing page physical product funnel. Okay, so right now Matt says we are currently at 4.28% conversion on our store as of right this second. Okay, so this is some massive increases, guys. You can do it. All right, so the next thing, the theme modification that we made to the cart was we reduced the product image sizes. You don't have the actual images. So the product images were so big that you had to scroll for the buy button on your page, okay, and on mobile. Again, 80% of our traffic is mobile. So it was so big. First of all, the header was so big that it pushed everything else down too. We reduced the header previously, and then we actually shrunk the items in the cart. The images were huge because they were mobile responsive, not mobile optimized. So we reduced the physical size, not the actual like megabits or pixels size. We reduced the pixel width and height of the image down very small, so that now 3 items can be in the cart and show up on the screen, and they don't have to scroll to find the buy button. It's all right there. Okay, so visually it's much easier, and then they can add and adjust quantities and everything right there in the cart without having to do anything, including our promotion offer below where they were getting free shipping on spending more money. This was a massive, massive, massive win.
Yeah, by far, this was the biggest win that we had as far as like literally within probably 2 hours. Uh, we saw so many more sales, and the how fast they were coming in. We knew that this was going to make a big difference. And even though we didn't have percentages to prove it until the next day or two, uh, it was literally almost instantaneous. And I can't take credit for this one either. The way that we found it, I actually had a friend of mine visiting who was a developer, and our whole goal was to try to see what we could do to make the store convert better. And I think in my email I got a video from Ezra Firestone, and it didn't talk about the cart, but it reminded me of his store, this is a big deal. Like, why in the world do you have to reinvent the wheel when you know there's a lot of people out there in our space that are doing the same things that we're doing? Um, why not go to other successful stores and see what they're doing and just see if it works for your audience or if it's going to be relevant for your store? And that's what we did here. We knew that our audience is 40 and older women, and his audience is 50 and older women. And so we went to his store and started thumbing through it and checking different things out. And we were like, wow, his shopping cart is way easier to be able to see what you have in your cart and what you want to buy, and started playing with ours, and we realized, man, if we make these images smaller, uh, you don't have to scroll. Like before, you would literally have to scroll once or twice for each one of those items in the cart. So if they have 3 items, which we sell 3 items to a lot of people, they would literally have to scroll about 6 times before they would get to the buy button. And by doing it like right here, literally the buy button shows up on the same screen now, and it was a massive improvement.
So this, guys, this is not something that you typically look at as like a conversion tweak because you're not optimizing a headline or changing a color or anything like that. What this is paying attention to something that nobody in the e-commerce space does or pays attention to, with an exception of a few big brands, and that is the user experience. Okay? If you think about it, Facebook is obsessed with the user experience. Google is obsessed with the user experience. Amazon is obsessed with the user experience. Okay? They're all big time focused on dialing this in for the user because they've realized that the better the user can interface with what you have, the more they're going to stay, the more they're going to spend, all of these different things, okay? But ecom people who are direct response marketers or whatever else, they're not thinking about that. They're literally passing over user experience with a gloss like, oh yeah, it's easy because I know how to use it. Well, you're the person who has the store. Of course you know how to use your store, and you know you don't care what it looks like because you're not actually a buyer, so it doesn't offend you the same way it offends a buyer. So by focusing on the user optimization and the user experience, things like this pop up. Okay, so another theme modification that we did was we added the testimonials to the actual shopping cart page right there. So the shopping cart was there, but there was all this empty space over here on the left hand side. It was just sitting there with nothing in it. So we had our developer go in and modify the theme so that we can serve up testimonials right smack in the shopping cart. Again, why? Social proof. And Facebook testimonials, again, because these are traffic, 90% or 99% of our traffic, I would say, is coming from Facebook right now. So we want to make it dialed in for them. Another thing that just kind of randomly happened was this little smiley face, that Facebook emoji, totally works. Okay? Not something we intentionally did, but we just kind of screenshotted it, threw it in there, and boom, it worked. Now, these testimonials here are just an image that we had the theme modified so that we can plug these in. Again, we could test them. And again, like Matt was saying, it's all about the number that you use.
Yeah, the again we used the same theory of if you put one really good one here, there was so much space. We honestly didn't even consider it, and I'm sure we've never tested it. We just put 5 because it seemed to fill out the page nice, and we knew that based on other testing, that it was either one good one or five testimonials or more, and we felt like 5 filled out the page enough that we were happy with it.
Also, guys, from a usability standpoint and just a visually appealing, I don't understand why Shopify and most themes have that empty space just sitting there. They don't even put anything in there. Okay, so that is just by itself doesn't look right. So if you can do this, and again, we only have it over here on the side on desktop. On mobile, it's not right there on the side. Okay, yes, these are actual testimonials that we screenshotted from our pages, okay, where our customers leave testimonials on our fan page. And all we did was use a screenshot tool. I mean, look, I mean, this is simple, guys. We literally didn't even clean up the white edges around it with their individual images. We could have made them look a lot better, but we made them look real, okay? And conversions have been up because of it. So the next thing was cart encouragement. Okay, so right here you can see this blue box and the blue arrows. We added those so you would focus on it. But this is what we call cart encouragement, to encourage people to add more items to cart. All right, so this we say special promotion, free shipping on orders over $30 today. All right, so this is something that again gets ignored heavily on smaller e-commerce stores, the direct response, the internet marketing type stores, because they don't think about it the same way. But if you look at most big stores, they're constantly running a promotion where they're saying, "Hey, free shipping on orders over 50 bucks, over 75 bucks, whatever," right? Well, why are they doing that? They're doing that to increase the average order size. So what you do is you figure out what your average order size is, and if your average order size is say $30 or $20, then you would want to set a free shipping promotion on all orders that are 20% over whatever your average order size is. So, or you could just set a number. So if your order size is 10, Anybody who spends $30 or more is going to get free shipping. So you're training your customers to take more. There is a global statistic that says that 43% of online shoppers are willing to add more items to their cart if offered free shipping. Okay? 43% are willing to add more items if you are willing to offer them free shipping. So why not do it? And then as your average cart value starts to rise, so does that number that they have to spend in order to do this. The other good thing is typically, let's say their cart value is at $25 and you say, hey, if you spend more than $30, you're going to get free shipping. Chances are you don't have a product that's exactly $5. So they are going to have to buy another product, which is probably $20 or $30 more, just to spend that additional $5. But the cool thing is that humans are irrational when it comes to shopping and consuming. So we know that, hey, if we just spend $5 more, we're going to get free shipping. And they say, well, hell, if I buy this extra product, I'm going to get free shipping. But even though I'm actually spending $30 when I only wanted to spend 5 more, we don't rationally care about that because we realize we're getting a good deal on the shipping. Okay?
Remember what Tanner just said when we get to the end, because what we show you that will add so much to the average order value literally makes no common sense whatsoever, but it's working. And every single person that we've shared it with in our mastermind or in the other different people that I go back and forth with for ideas to test with that has used it saw an immediate, instant bump. Not just an insignificant one, but a very good one. And it literally makes no sense whatsoever. So uh, when we get to it, you guys will just remember that point because it proves that it's a mental game. It's not just rationale.
Totally. Now, someone just asked, are you specifically saying free shipping on this page instead of we pay shipping like we did on the product page? Okay. Yes, 100%. Free shipping you're in the shopping cart now. They've made the decision to buy. When you go to Amazon or another store, like one like specifically Amazon, because we're all Amazon customers, so we're conditioned for online shopping through Amazon's process. Amazon, when you're in the cart, doesn't say anything like we pay shipping, right? They say, hey, you can get free shipping, $2.99 shipping, $3.99 shipping, whatever, right? When they're in the cart, free is more powerful in the shopping cart than it is out on a public page. Okay. The other thing is pay is a negative term. Okay. So the word pay means you're going to they're going to give up something. They're going to lose something. They're giving away money. Okay. Whereas free is a endearing term to them, like, man, I'm getting something rather than giving something. So we're not using negative wording on this page. Okay. Secure payment is a different thing because it's a trust badge. But we're not going to say special promotion, we pay shipping on orders over $30. We're going to say special promotion, free shipping, because free actually ties in with the cart and the expectation of the user. All right. And again, this is a big trust badge. We're going to talk about trust badges in a second. And there's a reason why it's there and why these other trust badges that you might be used to seeing are not there. Okay, so a cart encouragement, we basically already discussed this, but you can see on this screen, it's already gone up to 35. On the previous order, it was 30, okay? And we're testing different colors, okay? Normally, you don't ever want anything red in your shopping cart because red is, again, a negative color. In this case, though, it worked. It actually raised our conversions. And you can see from 30, now we're at $35. So we were actively increasing our threshold that they had to spend more than so that they would get the free shipping being offered. All right. So sometimes the rules don't apply. In this case, red worked out.
The reason why we changed it to red, we actually did this the day after we reduced the size of the images in the cart, was because more so on mobile. On desktop, it showed the special promotion line showed up fairly well, but on mobile, it kind of blended in. And so I can't take credit for this one either, but Charlie said, hey, why don't we try a different color? And he actually put it in some brackets, and we switched it to red, and right away we saw that was another thing. Like the places that we saw the biggest immediate changes were on the cart and the checkout, to where you would see it translate into sales immediately. The ones that we talked about in the beginning on the page, you really needed a lot of data to be able to know if it was working or not. The things that you change on this page and even in the checkout, you literally will know same day, next day, 2, 3 days in. You're going to figure it out pretty fast.
So another theme modification that we made was we actually modified the theme so that we could easily change the cart encouragement text to what we wanted. So this wasn't something that was in the cart. We had to go into the code. Yeah, there is no cart encouragement on Shopify at all. We had to go in there to the actual cart and add it. And every time we wanted to change it, we had to go into the code and manually modify the code to do all of this stuff. Again, if it's inconvenient, you won't do it. So we had our developer, again, go into our theme and actually modify the theme so that we can just drop in the code, or not the code, the text, and it will change it right there from the admin dashboard. Again, this is something that we had to have developed because Shopify doesn't offer cart encouragement in its themes. And again, it made such a big difference that we knew we needed to have it, but it also had to be something easy because neither Matt nor I are techie. So when we have to get into the theme and modify code, we usually break something before we get done modifying it. So it's better to keep us out of there. Now, language on the upsell offer, okay? This is what Matt was talking about, okay? Yeah, well, this is the original. It gets better from here. But this was the original one. So this is an upsell app in the shopping cart. So it's called In-Cart Upsell by Awesome. Now, so you can actually, these are relational products. You can assign, hey, show this upsell when they do this. Well, you can add the verbiage too. The most important thing about this verbiage is normally people say, hey, add these containers or add this product and it, for this price. That's the normal text that everybody does. Well, I come from the direct response world, okay? I've been building sales funnels and conversion rate stuff for years. And back in the direct response days, you always need to tie in social proof anywhere you can into headlines. So what we did was we tied in that 47% of our customers add these 3 items to the order. So we're saying, hey, it's not just you that might think this is cool, but 43 or 47% of our customers do this. Okay? This boosted our add to cart conversions by a ton. I can't even remember the exact, but it was double digits. Okay. Now here's the thing. Shopify doesn't allow for one-click upsells. Okay. Unless you hijack the cart and you use an external tool. But through the regular controlled Shopify checkout, you cannot do one-click upsells. So this is the next best thing. And you guys know me, you know that I preach and teach one-click upsells. But on Shopify, there's not a good way to do it inside the cart. So this is the best thing. Most of the time, these add to cart things get marginal 5 to 6% add to carts, not even checkouts, but just add to carts. We saw double digit add to carts and massive single digit increases in the checkouts with the additional product. Okay, simply by using the relational add to cart app, which is the in-cart upsell, and then we added this little line of text. We're talking 4 little words, not one of them is not even a word, a number and 4 words or 3 words that made a huge difference. Okay. And how do you figure out what that number is? Just look at how many people are doing it. Okay. And then as that number increases, just keep increasing it. Okay. This works phenomenally well, and it works even better in an actual sales funnel. But since we don't have a sales funnel, this is the next best thing. And then, so this is where this started. Okay. And then Matt was talking with some of the other Black Label Mastermind members that we all interact with, and he tested, one of the other Black Label guys tested something else. Actually, Phil K tested it, and he said, hey, try this. Which we'll talk about in a second. And we're saving it because it's just amazing. We'll talk about it soon. But Phil took a change on this line of text, which again, as Matt said, is not rational. And he saw an immediate $13 increase in add to cart. We saw a $5 because our price points are different in our markets, but it was immediate.
I gave Phil a hard time and told him the reason why we only saw a 5% increase was because we had already optimized our source so well that that's the most that we could squeeze out of it. But he was able to get a lot more just because he hadn't done as many changes as we had. But we had a good laugh about it for sure.
All right, so here's one of the things that did not work, which we thought would work. Okay, we added this trust button, which is a very popular trust button on the Shopify platform. I see stores all the time using this. Orange button, green bag, black thing, secured by Shopify, blah, 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 blah. Okay, We've seen it. Everybody's used it, right? This actually reduced our conversion rate, guys, by a significant amount. We couldn't figure out what was going on, why our page dropped after we added it. So then we threw on the Hotjar again and started watching them. They thought it was a button and it didn't do anything. Okay, so they just kept clicking it. And guess what? They weren't clicking the button we wanted them to click, the checkout buttons. So we actually had a reduction in our conversion rate because of it.
Yeah, this is one literally we saw it on several other stores, and I thought, wow, that's a good looking button. It's obviously explaining that it's a secure. We know that in the URL, if you have like HTTPS, like even people even notice that, and their conversions will go up. So we thought we literally made an assumption that this would automatically uh, boost conversion because they would feel more secure. And it wasn't big and gaudy, but it actually literally fit in with the shapes and sizes of the buttons that we had. And instantly our conversions went down, and it was about 1%. So it was noticeable, and we were like, at first I didn't think it was a button. I was trying to figure out other reasons why it was, and we turned the Hotjar on and watched it, and what was happening was the people would click the button 2 or 3 times, and when it didn't take them to the checkout, they would exit the page. So they didn't just go click a different button, because on mobile, this is on desktop, so you can see it all at once. On mobile, you had that button, then it was a checkout, PayPal, and the checkout button, and literally they would click it a couple times. It wouldn't work, they would leave. And it was significant enough that we got rid of it immediately. It was only on our page for about 3 or 4 days.
So, not everything works, guys. We really thought this was going to help us, but it hurt us. So, sometimes you got to take things off that you put on, right? So the next thing was the theme modification to with a refresh subtotal button. Okay, this is some common sense stuff that we couldn't believe that the theme didn't have, that Shopify didn't have. So what happens is over here on the left, you have your regular cart, okay? And then you have the plus button to add quantity. Okay, well, what the problem is, when you add quantity, nothing changes. Your subtotal doesn't change. Shopify doesn't update anything. No one sees anything until they click the next button, because this is the cart page. They click the next button and they go to checkout, and then all of a sudden, instead of a $35 order, they now see a $70 order. And they're like, wait a minute, what the heck happened? Why is there a $70 order here? Because they didn't see the price change on the page when they made the modification. So what we did, we couldn't have it auto do it, but what we did was we added a refresh subtotal button right below the actual subtotal that pops up when they when they change it. It's not there if you don't change the quantity. It only pops up if you change the quantity. So now that pops up, they see it because it actually popped up, and people click it. Yes, Brad, people use it because it wasn't there before. It's not there until they change the quantity, and then it pops up in their face. So they're like, oh yeah, I need to see what my new subtotal is going to be. So what this did is it reduced the abandoned cart rate significantly because there were no surprises. Okay? When people go to the cart, the last thing they want is a surprise. They expect to see exactly what they want to see. And the one thing about the cart is one of the biggest causes of abandoned carts in all things is the fact that most stores keep the shipping cost hidden until the checkout page. Okay, so anything that's hidden that they don't understand what's coming is going to cause people to abandon. So what we noticed here was exactly that. They did consciously add more quantity to the cart, but they didn't see the price change. So subconsciously, they were still seeing that $35 price in their head, and then when they clicked over, all of a sudden it was $70 and they didn't understand what was up.
I think it was either they didn't understand or they probably understood, but they didn't see it change. I lost my thought. The thing is, the way that we noticed this was because people were actually submitting support tickets saying, I put 2 in, and it said it was only $35.50, but then you tried to charge me $70 on the checkout. So they, in their flawed thinking, thought they could add another slicer, and the price didn't change, so they thought, oh, I'm going to get 2 for $35.50, even though that's not rational. They would literally write in a support ticket and say, I have 2, and it says $35.50, but when I get to the payment page, it's more money than what you told me. And so we literally were trying to figure out how we would fix this, and this was a conversation back and forth with our developer about how we could do it, and this refresh subtotal button ended up being our fix. And believe it or not, like when you watch it on Hotjar, people refresh it and then they finish the checkout process rather than go to checkout, see the amount is different than what it was on the page before that, even though they know they added an item, and then they would just exit. They would exit the checkout and abandon the sale.
Little things, guys. Now, this is something that we as sellers shouldn't have to do, right? This should all be built into the theme, but it's not. And a lot of other platforms, it's not just Shopify that doesn't do this. Ultracart doesn't always do this. Magento doesn't always do this. It just depends. So if you don't have this on your page and you check it, start watching it and see what happens. So guys, a lot of people don't have this on their page. Okay, they don't have it on their store. They don't have it on Ultracart. They don't have it on. It's not just Shopify. So this is something that you need to check. If you don't have a quantity refresh, whether it's automated or whatever, start hot jarring your cart and seeing if people are abandoning a higher percentage, or notice your customer support tickets where they're talking about this. Okay, so very, very, very important.